sporty and stealthy. The Cruise 220 comes across as an authentic and classic cruiser. And finally, we have the Street 150, which I personally feel is a game-changing launch. Now, let's start out this review by pointing out the differences between the Cruise 220 and the regular Avenger 220. The first thing that hits you is the raised handlebar. It is long and curvy, giving you the most comfortable holding angle. The seat is new as well. We get dual density foam to offer superior riding comfort. We also get classic looking decals that perfectly complement the overall design of the bike. Then we have the chrome Avenger badging on the fuel tank that looks nice and neat. We get a brand new exhaust that looks and sounds great. The pillion backrest gets a new design as well. The instrument console now gets a digital odometer and trip meter. We get new hand grips that are softer and offer better grip. The radiator grille is now all chrome, lending the bike a premium feel. Tech specs wise, the length of this bike, the Cruise 220, is down by 18 millimeters when compared to the outgoing model. Width is up by 56 millimeters and height is up by 72 millimeters. Wheelbase is up by 15 millimeters. The ground clearance remains the same at 169 mm. Seat height is up by 15 mm and it now comes up to 725 mm. Weight is up by 1 kg because of the abundance of chrome that is found on this bike. Fuel tank capacity, however, remains the same at 14 liters. Apart from the aforementioned, other noteworthy upgrades with the new range of Avengers include an improved capacitor discharge ignition for crisper throttle response and reduced NVH levels. You also get a new drive chain that offers better life by 15 to 20%. The second spring rate in the rear suspension has been changed to prevent bottoming out on bad roads. We get a white hue headlamp to offer better visibility at night. We also get clear lens turn indicators that are flexible to prevent breakage. Now, talking about the differences between the Street 220 and the Cruise 220, the Street gets a shorter black handle, whereas the Cruise gets a longer handle to offer better highway riding comfort. The Cruise gets glossy paint finish, whereas the Street gets a matte finish. The Cruise gets a cushioned pillion backrest, whereas the Street does not. And as you can visually make out, the Street gets an all black theme with black alloy wheels, whereas the Cruise gets classic cruiser theme with normal spoke wheels. The Cruise does not get the rubber bellows on the front suspension forks like the Street 220. We get a blue backlit digital odometer display for the Cruise, whereas we get yellow backlit display for the Street. Also, specifications wise, width of the Cruise 220 when compared to the Street model is up by 5 millimeters, height is up by 72 millimeters, and weight is up by 5 kgs. Apart from this, everything else is almost identical, be it the engine specs, the brakes, the suspension, the tires, etc. Everything remains the same. Talking about the design, the headlamp carries a nice and classic look. The windshield is an optional extra. I think you need to pay around 2 to 2.5 k to get that on. Coming to the profile, the low-slung cruiser design language with generous portions of chrome all over the bike looks fabulous. The new Avenger insignia looks absolutely gorgeous as well. At the back, the tail lamp seems to be the same one that is carried forward from the older model and looks pretty decent. All in all, the classic design concept of the Cruise 220 takes the preceding model's design to a whole new level and looks spectacular in flesh. The instrument cluster is a part digital, part analog unit. We get an analog speedo and analog fuel gauge. The digital display in the speedo contains the odometer and the trip meter. Coming to the engine specs, it is more or less the same as the preceding model. We get a twin spark, 2-valve, oil-cooled 220cc DTSI engine that puts out a maximum power of 19.03 PS at 8,400 RPM and 17.5 Newton meters of torque at 7,000 RPM. It comes mated to a 5-speed gearbox. On paper, the torque has slightly increased by 0.5 Newton meters when compared to that of the preceding model. Talking about my test ride experience, now I am a former Avenger 220 owner, and this bike is 1 kg heavier than the outgoing model. The thing I noticed first up is the comfortable seat. We now get a dual foam density seat that offers unmatched comfort. The Avenger always came across as the most comfortable bike in the motorcycle market here in India. With the Cruise, BAJAJ have pushed the envelope further because the low-slung seating posture, the front set rider foot pegs, and raised handlebars make you feel you are riding a proper chopper. Maneuverability through city traffic is decent enough once you get used to the character of the bike. The clutch is now lighter. The throttle response too is better. Among the Street and the Cruise models, the Street enjoys the weight advantage and is more street friendly. The Cruise 220 is meant to thrive on the highways, however. The level of comfort that this bike offers, along with the sheer splendor and majesty that this bike exudes, makes it truly one of its kind and an absolute steal for the price at which it is being offered. Talking about the brakes, they are the same as that of the preceding model. We get a 260 disc up front and a 130 drum brake at the rear. Braking is decent enough for a bike in this category. Please maintain appropriate tire pressure per the user manual and apply both brakes sensibly to avoid skidding. Talking about the suspension setup, the bike just soaks away the bumps with utmost ease and offers one of the best or most comfortable rides. Talking about the tires, we get 17-inch wheel with 90 by 90 tire up front and a 15-inch wheel with 130 by 90 tire at the rear. These are regular tube tires and are not tubeless tires. Talking about the mileage claim, there's no official mileage claim. I personally was getting around 45 kmpl with the regular Avenger 220. With all the chrome adding in a bit of weight in this bike, you can still expect around 40 to 45 kmpl is what I feel. Please go through the knowledge base section found on the homepage menu of my website for tips on extracting best mileage. Price ex-showroom Hyderabad for this bike is rupees 85,780.